Playtesting is one of the most exciting times for a gamer to be invited to because you got selected out of a very small pool of people to test a game. So when I got invited to playtest this third-person shooter that we're going to cover today, I was confused at first because I don't remember requesting access, but I was also excited because I like the aesthetic of it. It looks similar to Rogue Company. Sign me the hell up. Today we're going to pop off in the tutorial and absolutely blow hot ass in the multiplayer as we cover VEILED experts. If you enjoy what you see today, be sure to hit that sub button. Okay, let's continue. I want to address some things people are saying before we dive in. Yes, this game is made by Nexon. The same people wanting to completely nuke Dark and Darker off the face of the planet because of some alleged quote-unquote stolen code or whatever. I'm not here to base them off that. I'm here to base them off VEILED experts, okay? There are plenty of companies out there I will not make an exception for, but in this case, I will make an exception with Nexon. Some other things I want to tackle are people saying that this game is a clone of Rogue Company. It may be inspired by the game, but saying it's an all-out asset flip of Rogue Company makes you sound like you enjoy beating yourself in the head with trash can lids and listening to the tinnitus in your ear. That being said, it's a playtest, so expect bugs, but also expect me to not cut them any slack as this, to my knowledge, is fully releasing this year in 2023. To start things off, you can choose different agents who are given something called lepton technology, which acts as different traits. I'm just a little confused because Jack's leptons are Pistol Enthusiast, which buffs pistols in primary and secondary slots, Lone Wolf, which increases armor and health, Early Adopter gives you more money each round, and finally Outboxer, which increases your speed when knocking down an enemy. I don't know if these are traits or abilities, but hey, each character has their own leptons depending on your playstyle, so choose whichever one you want and go apeshit with it. Once you select your agent and do the mandatory training, you get into the game modes. And there's only 3 at the moment, but they're essentially a 3v3 S&D mode, a 5v5 S&D mode, and a 5v5 TDM mode. These 3 modes are somehow the most mentally draining to play. For example, the 3v3 mode, you better occupy anywhere from 8 minutes to upwards of around 25 minutes for one game. Obviously the 20-minute mark is if both teams keep trading rounds, but I expect that with the 5v5 modes. A 3v3 mode lasting upwards of around 25 minutes is absurd. I'd rather wait in the goddamn DMV than be stuck in the 3v3 for that long. The 5v5 S&D mode is okay. Just your typical one life mode. Nothing too bad. Then we have the TDM mode, and I don't know how they can mess up something as simple as spawn, kill, die, repeat, but rest assured they did. With the ability for the enemy team to completely spawn camp on basically every map, this is one of the most depressing game modes to play. I mean, yeah, you do get post-spawn invincibility, but it doesn't mean shit if the whole enemy team's full of dead shots. Game modes out of the way, let's talk about the economy real quick. Each round you have to buy your weapons and equipment, but you can also loot the dead enemies and take what they got as far as ammo and equipment goes. That's not a bad idea actually, and something that I don't think a lot of us have seen in newer games. And as far as my knowledge goes, if you die, you don't have to rebuy your weapons. So there's that. Speaking about the guns, what about them? How do the guns feel? Well, they feel like they're supposed to be accurate, but somehow they're not. I know the first thing that you're going to want to do is just blindly type in skill issue into the comment section, but don't get me wrong, it's not the worst thing compared to other games, but the gunplay and overall mechanics are just not it to me. The guns either have too much recoil and not enough punch, or they have too much punch and barely any recoil. Pair that with the agent you choose and you're essentially going to either shit on the entire enemy team or be so damn brittle that a stiff wind will continuously knock you down. If you get knocked down though, it's not the end of the world because you can still shoot, roll, self-revive, plant, and disarm the bomb. And that's probably the best feature in this entire game. It truly does make you feel like you're never really out of the fight until you're completely dead. Now let's move on to the maps because there are quite a few and none of them I'm a big fan of. There are a total of 7 maps that all have the same feeling of, well, they tried it. About 80% of the maps suffer the fate of being too damn big for their own good or being so narrow that it's just cramped. Alta City, in my opinion, is a perfect example of this. There's just too much going on and not enough flow. There are also maps that I feel like Nexon could give a shit less about, like Wheat Farm. Like the only cover that you have is just the wheat. The high ground of the map is the house and it offers you no protection and not really a big vantage point. So to hell with it. Wind Farm and Korea City have been the only maps I looked at and said, they're far from perfect, but there's something here. The only other thing I have to say about the maps before I give some final thoughts are that at random times, most of the time being at the beginning of the game, something elemental will happen on the map, and 9 times out of 10, it's just a lot of fog, dirt, or sand. Don't bother trying to fight anyone in this whole thing, okay? Just run, hide, wait for it to be over, and then continue. Also, to add on to this, the map will close in on itself depending on the mode you play that resembles a battle royale. Jesus Christ. Okay, final thoughts. This is what I think about Veiled Experts, okay? You sitting? You comfortable? Okay, cool. I think this game has something going for it. Unfortunately, that something won't keep it alive in the western side of the world. I'm sure this game is a massive success on the opposite side of the planet, okay? But I think it's because the game is made to appeal to that audience. Over here, we're tired of the battle royales and its aspects. A lot of us are tired of the hero-esque shooters, and third-person games are coming back, but it's still a very niche genre. If you think about the western side of the world, a lot of us only care about shooters like Battlefield and Call of Duty, sports games like Madden, which I don't know how anyone can care about that game at all. It's not really in the realm of what Veiled Experts is trying to do. And when it comes to third-person games, there are games like Caliber that are coming to Steam in April that I feel like are not only going to bring back the older SOCOM players, but also bring in new players looking to play a military-style third-person shooter. Veiled Experts doesn't do anything to attract that audience, and the only audience it does seem to attract are people comparing it to either Super People and Rogue Company. And unfortunately with those games, they stay good for a bit, but the player base eventually moves on and they're just done with the game entirely. Including the devs, they just seem to straight up abandon these games like not too deep into their life cycle. I'm not gonna be surprised at all if this game doesn't survive, but I'm also not hoping for its downfall. It's truly one of those observe in the distance and wait sort of situations on my end. I don't know. Let me know down below what you think about Veiled Experts. Does it have a future once it releases? Will it be a flop? Let me know. And while you're down there, go ahead and smash that like button and knock down that sub button to all so YouTube can pick you up with my future content. This is Sir Blackout signing off so I can get ready for Caliber's release. I got more videos on that coming in the future. Later.